She started in the shadows of a local theater, literally too shy to even speak. Then, she stepped right into the spotlight and never looked back. Today, she's one of the most powerful young actors in all of Hollywood. Welcome to Learning English with Rassa.
Our story begins in Oakland, California. Imagine a young girl spending her days just wandering the vibrant backstage halls of the California Shakespeare Theater. Her mom, Claire, actually worked there as a house manager, on top of being an inner-city schoolteacher. So while all the other kids were outside playing, this young, hesitant girl was just soaking in the absolute magic of stage production. She'd watch actors transform, witness the intense dedication of the crew, and quietly, she fell head over heels in love with the art of performance, even if she was initially way too shy to speak up herself. Now, to help her overcome that quiet nature, her parents encouraged her to take some classes right there at the theater. She started out with improv and dance, and slowly but surely, this remarkable spark of confidence began to show. The stage literally became a safe place for her to express herself. And that early training really paid off when she landed a Sears commercial, dancing as a backup performer alongside another young rising star, Selena Gomez. Sure, it was just a small taste of the camera, but it was absolutely enough to ignite a massive dream.
But as we all know, big dreams demand big sacrifices. When she reached middle school, she and her dad packed up everything and moved to a tiny apartment in downtown Los Angeles to chase auditions. This was definitely their first major test. Being separated from her mom was incredibly difficult, but her mother made the crucial sacrifice of staying behind in Oakland. She was working 2 jobs, teaching during the day and managing the theater at night just to fund the endless car trips in that LA apartment. They were living paycheck to paycheck, completely devoted to this young girl's potential. The real turning point arrived when she was just 13 years old. After months of really grueling auditions, she landed the co-lead role of Rocky Blue on the Disney Channel sitcom Shake It Up. Almost overnight, she was thrust right out of obscurity and into the bright, blinding spotlight of teen fame. The show was a massive, massive hit, drawing millions of viewers. Suddenly, the quiet girl from Oakland was a recognized face in living rooms across the entire globe.
However, child stardom can definitely be a trap, and she knew she had to navigate it very carefully. So she began setting firm boundaries early on. She famously refused her first on-camera kiss just to protect her own comfort level. After releasing a highly successful album, she boldly stepped away from a music career to remain somewhat anonymous and avoid the exhausting lifestyle of a full-time pop star. Having this strong sense of self helped empower her when she eventually returned to Disney for the show KC Undercover, where she successfully demanded a producer credit and pushed for more diverse representation on screen.
As her time at Disney finally wrapped up, she proved she was a versatile talent, highly capable of shattering that whole child star mold. In 2017, she made a spectacular feature film debut playing the dry, intellectual MJ in Spider-Man: Homecoming. And that very same year, she showed off her incredible musical and physical talents by performing breathtaking trapeze stunts in the hit movie The Greatest Showman. She was successfully making the big leap to the silver screen, proving to audiences everywhere that she could basically do it all.
Yet the ultimate test of her career was still ahead of her. Facing immense pressure to prove her true dramatic capabilities outside of those huge blockbusters and musicals, she took on a shockingly heavy role. She was cast as Rue Bennett, a high schooler battling severe addiction in HBO's Euphoria. She delivered this raw, deeply emotional, and incredibly genuine performance that left viewers completely mesmerized. It was a massive risk for sure, but it paid off in ways literally nobody could have predicted. The industry simply had to acknowledge her undeniable talent. For her phenomenal work on Euphoria, she made history by becoming the youngest 2-time Emmy winner for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series. From there, her career just exploded. She continued to evolve into a true Hollywood heavyweight, starring in the epic science fiction franchise Dune, and proving her leading lady status in the critically acclaimed sports drama Challengers. Today, Zendaya is a global superstar, a fashion icon, and an acclaimed actress. But what truly sets her apart is how she sustains her incredible success without ever forgetting her roots. She remains so deeply connected to Oakland and recently donated $100,000 back to the California Shakespeare Theater. It's truly amazing, giving back to the very place where a shy young girl first learned to find her voice.
Let's shift our focus to the language we used and look closely at the vocabulary from Zendaya's journey. Our first word is hesitant. It's pronounced hesitant. Hesitant is an adjective that describes being slow to act or speak because you feel unsure, nervous, or doubtful.
It actually comes from the Latin word hesitare, which literally means to stick fast or to stall. Now, while it's kind of similar to reluctant, there is a distinct difference. If you are reluctant, you don't want to do something at all. But if you are hesitant, you might actually want to do it, but you are just pausing out of fear or uncertainty. You're feeling a little stuck before making a move.
Let's look at how this works in our story. Number 1. The young girl was hesitant to speak up during her first theater class. Number 2. Even with her talent, she felt hesitant before walking into the audition room. And number 3, her mother never felt hesitant about supporting her daughter's big dreams. Notice how hesitant functions here. It describes a temporary state of mind, like a pause before taking action. It usually pairs really well with an infinitive verb, like hesitant to speak, or a preposition, like hesitant about.
Our next word is the verb overcome, pronounced overcome. To overcome something means to successfully control a difficult feeling or solve a problem that is standing in your way. It comes from Old English, literally meaning to reach or prevail over something. We often use synonyms like conquer or defeat, but overcome is pretty unique. Think about it this way. You conquer an army, but you overcome a fear. It usually points to an internal struggle or a personal barrier that you somehow manage to climb right over.
Here are a few ways to use it. First, she took improv classes to overcome her natural shyness. Second, the family had to overcome a lack of money during their early days in Los Angeles. Third, Zendaya managed to overcome the immense pressure of being a child star. As a verb, overcome takes a direct object, meaning you overcome something. In these sentences, those objects are shyness, a lack of money, and immense pressure. It's a wonderful, highly practical word for discussing personal growth and achievement. Moving on, we have the word crucial, pronounced crucial. Crucial is an adjective meaning extremely important or absolutely necessary for a situation to succeed. It comes from the Latin root crux, which originally referred to a cross and eventually came to mean a critical intersection or a major turning point where a big decision must be made. When you say something is crucial, you mean it is much stronger than just important. If an important thing is missing, well, it's a problem. But if a crucial thing is missing, the entire plan fails completely.
Let's examine these sentences. First, her mother's 2 jobs provided the crucial financial support they needed. Second, the role on Disney Channel was a crucial step in building her fan base. Third, setting boundaries early is crucial for young actors in Hollywood. You can use this word directly before a noun, like crucial support, or after a linking verb, like setting boundaries is crucial. It instantly tells the listener that this specific detail absolutely cannot be ignored. Next is the word anonymous, pronounced anonymous. This adjective describes someone or something that is unnamed, unknown, or intentionally avoiding recognition. It has Greek roots, with n meaning without, and oma meaning name, so literally without a name. We use this when a person does not want the public to know who they are. You might compare it to unidentified, but unidentified usually means the authorities don't know who someone is, whereas anonymous implies the person chose to keep their identity hidden to protect their peace.
Looking back at our context. First, she stepped away from the music industry to remain somewhat anonymous. Second, the actress sometimes wishes she could walk through a park as an anonymous person. Third, an anonymous donor contributed extra funds to the local theater. Notice in the first 2 examples, it refers to blending in with the crowd and avoiding fame. The word perfectly captures that deep desire for privacy in a highly public career.
Our 5th word is the verb empower, pronounced empower. To empower someone means to give them the confidence, authority, or official power to take control of their life or make decisions. It's formed by combining the prefix "em," which means to put into, with the word power. While a word like allow simply means you give permission, empower means you actually provide the tools, the internal strength, or the legal right for the person to succeed on their own.
Let's read through the examples. First, having success at a young age helped empower her to demand producer credits. Second, the theater program aims to empower local students to find their voices. Third, she felt empowered to negotiate a better contract for her television show. Observe the grammatical structure here. You usually empower someone to do something. In the third sentence, we see it used as an adjective phrase, felt empowered, meaning she possessed the internal confidence to act. Moving forward, let's analyze versatile, pronounced versatile. Versatile is an adjective that describes someone or something capable of adapting to many different styles, skills, or functions. The origin is the Latin versatilis, which means turning easily or revolving.
When we contrast it with adaptable, we find a really brilliant slight difference. Someone who is adaptable survives changes well. Someone who is versatile actually has many different talents and thrives in multiple categories, like an actor who can do comedy, dark drama, and bright musicals perfectly.
Let's see this in action. First, she shattered the child star mold by proving she was a versatile talent. Second, a versatile actor can easily switch between a funny sitcom and a dark drama. Third, her dancing background made her versatile enough to perform trapeze stunts. This word functions beautifully to highlight a wide range of unique skills. When applying it to yourself, you might say, I am a versatile worker because I understand sales, marketing, and design.
Next up is genuine, pronounced genuine. Genuine is an adjective, meaning truly what something is said to be, completely sincere and honest without pretending. It originates from the Latin genuinus, meaning natural or innate. It's really important to distinguish it from just being honest. You can be honest by simply telling the truth about a hard fact. But being genuine means your emotions, your personality, and your actions are completely real and open. It carries a very deep emotional weight.
Let's read these together. First, she delivered a deeply emotional and genuine performance as Rue. Second, viewers love her because she always shows a genuine personality in interviews. Third, her donation to the theater was a genuine act of gratitude. In these contexts, genuine acts as an adjective modifying a noun, like the performance, the personality, and the act. It essentially tells us that what you are seeing on the outside perfectly matches the truth on the inside. Now let's examine the verb acknowledge, pronounced acknowledge. It means to formally accept or admit the truth of something, or to officially recognize the value and quality of a person's work. It developed in Middle English from a combination of a prefix meaning toward and the word knowledge. This is so much stronger than simply noticing something. If you notice a talent, you just see it in passing. If you acknowledge a talent, you openly state that it exists, and you give it the absolute respect it truly deserves.
Here is how it looks in context. First, the film industry had to acknowledge her undeniable talent with 2 Emmy Awards. Second, she always takes time to acknowledge the support of her parents. Third, it is important to acknowledge your fears before you can move past them. Grammatically, you must acknowledge a thing or a person. In professional environments, officially acknowledging someone's hard work is considered the absolute highest form of respect.
Now let's look at the verb evolve, pronounced evolve. To evolve means to develop gradually over time, usually changing from a basic state into a more complex, advanced, or better form. The root is the Latin word evolvere, which beautifully translates to unroll or unfold. We use the word change for any kind of difference, good or bad, fast or slow. But we use evolve specifically when a person or a thing progresses naturally over a long period into a vastly superior version of itself.
Let's check the sentences. First, she continues to evolve into a Hollywood heavyweight with every new movie. Second, over the years, her fashion style has evolved significantly. Third, an actor must evolve their skills to avoid playing the same character forever. You can actually use evolve in 2 ways. You can use it intransitively, meaning something just evolves on its own naturally, like her fashion style. Or you can use it transitively, where you actively evolve a specific thing, like an actor evolving their skills.
Our final word for today is sustain, pronounced sustain. Sustain is a verb meaning to provide support physically or mentally and to cause something to continue for a very long time. The Latin root sustainer means to hold up from below. So how is this different from survive? Well, surviving means you just barely lived through a difficult event. Sustaining means you are keeping a high level of performance or health steady and strong without dropping for a prolonged period.
Let's read our final examples. First, she sustains her incredible success without ever forgetting her roots. Second, it takes a lot of hard work to sustain a career in the entertainment industry. Third, the early support from her mother helped sustain her confidence. In each of these sentences, sustain shows the considerable effort required to keep a positive thing going. You don't just achieve success once, you have to work incredibly hard to sustain it day after day. Let's take a quick moment to review the vocabulary we've just learned and connect it back to the narrative. We started with hesitant, representing that shy little girl in Oakland who was slow to speak up. But she managed to overcome that fear, conquering her internal barriers through dance and improv. All of this was made possible by the crucial, absolutely essential, financial and emotional support provided by her hard-working mother.
As she grew, she realized she wanted to avoid the exhausting pop star lifestyle and remain anonymous, protecting her privacy away from the flashing cameras. Making that bold choice helped empower her, giving her the true authority and confidence to control her own career path. She then proved to the world that she was versatile, successfully adapting her unique talents across sitcoms, blockbuster action films, and big-screen musicals.
Her career took a massive leap when she delivered a genuine, remarkably sincere and raw performance in a heavy television drama. This forced the entire industry to formally acknowledge and truly respect her immense talent. She continues to gradually develop and evolve as an artist, and yet, despite all the fame, she manages to sustain her success by holding up her core values and remembering exactly where she came from.
And that brings us beautifully to our idiom for today. Keep your feet on the ground. When you tell someone to keep their feet on the ground, you're telling them to remain practical, sensible, and humble, basically regardless of how much success, money, or fame they achieve. The logic of this phrase is actually quite simple. When people become highly successful, we often describe them as having their heads in the clouds or floating away with their own ego. Keeping your feet firmly planted on the earth means gravity is holding you to the real world, just like the rest of us. Zendaya's donation to her hometown theater is just a perfect example of keeping her feet on the ground.
Let's look at how you might use this in daily conversation. You could say, even after she was promoted to CEO, she kept her feet on the ground and ate lunch with the junior staff. Or, it is hard to keep your feet on the ground when everyone is constantly telling you how brilliant you are. Now, I have a short challenge for you. Think of a person you admire who has achieved a whole lot but remains super humble. Try to write one sentence about them using the phrase, keep their feet on the ground. And that wraps up today's story. Think about your own ambitions for a second. As you work hard, learn new things, and climb higher in your own life, how do you make sure you remember where you came from? Seriously, how do you keep your feet on the ground as you pursue your own big dreams? We'd absolutely love to hear your thoughts and practice your English with you. Let us know in our community on Telegram at Fluent Mind.